So I'm joined today by Nick Clausen. Nick Clausen is a Danish author who usually writes in the zombie genre. How are you, Nick?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. We're finally doing it after many setbacks, after many technical difficulties. I think we're actually doing it now. So, according to my research, you started writing in 2009. Is that right?
Yes, I started 2 years prior to that, but 2009 was the year I had my first book published.
Right. And at that point, you were writing in Danish only, weren't you?
Yeah, yeah. I was. I had like an idol who was a big author in Denmark, and I wanted to write stories like he did. So yeah, I didn't consider writing in English before we many years later. So yeah, it was in Danish to begin with.
Right. And you were inspired by a Danish author. So I was going to ask you why you started writing or how you started. So, how old were you then at this point in 2009?
Uh, I was. I'm trying to do the math. I think I was 18. Um, around 18, 19.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's quite young to start writing. A lot of people start a bit older than that. So you started writing at 18 in Danish, and what was the first thing you wrote? Was it a full-length novel or just a short story?
Yeah, it was somewhere in the middle. I guess you'd call it a novella. Was it actually now it's translated into English, and it's I have published it on my own. It's when I wrote it in Danish, I called it The Tide,
Mm.
and I sent it to a publisher, and they made it into a book, and I was over the moon. But and so now, fast forward many years later, it was one of the first books that I translated once I started writing in English, and so now it's actually out there. And I changed the title to "They Come at Night." It's not a standalone book. It wasn't long enough for that, so I placed it in my collection that's called "The Monsters at Midnight." So
Right.
yeah, so that's a very old story.
Well, it sounds like you did well first go because so some people would advise against doing that. Some people say writing is like anything else. You know, if you want to learn how to be a carpenter and make chairs, first you have to make lots of bad chairs before you make a good chair. Or if you want to play a musical instrument, you have to play it badly first, and to get all the bad tunes out, and then you can start playing it well. A lot of people would advise new authors to write at least 10 short stories before attempting any serious work. But you know, your that got published. So your first novella, it was actually
Yeah.
published by a publishing company, was it?
Yes, yeah, but it wasn't my first try. It wasn't a story that I finished and sent to the publisher. It was actually number 13. I started in 2007, and I just wrote like a book a month. I bombarded them with a new story every month, and they have a long, like, it could be a year before they had time to read it and get back to me. And I was like, okay, it's just gonna be like you said. It's a lot of bad stories. I need to get through them. It's gonna be a string of no's that comes back to me, and I
Yeah.
was right. So the first 12 was just no, 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 no. But and I was, whenever I would hear back, like get the answer, the no, from one story, I would be like three stories further ahead because I didn't have time to wait for their feedback. Uh, so yeah,
Right.
I feel like I did get all those like you say bad stories out of my system before I finally got one that went through.
I see. I see. Yeah, I think you have to really. It's like anything else, isn't it? If you're an
Yeah,
artist, if you want to paint a good portrait, you have to paint 1,000 bad ones first, as they say. I think it
yeah,
applies to most things.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so was that a zombie? Was that a zombie novella? The first one that was published.
No, it was more. It was inspired by vampires actually, but it's a creature, it's a monster that I made up. I believe I call them sea demons in the story.
Hmm.
It's like I got this for four teenagers going to a cottage by the beach. I grew up by a very beautiful Danish beach where we have a lot of tourists, a lot of Brits actually, and even more Germans come every year
Right.
to spend the summer there. So I just imagine that them going there without anyone knowing, they have borrowed the key and they just lock themselves, you know, um, just entered the house and drinking beer and all that, and then during the night, like when darkness fell, then the tide would come up and it would reach the cottage, and and the water would bring these creatures with it, and they couldn't leave the water, so they could only enter the house once the water was high enough, like when the tide was high.
Right.
And also, if you put like a tiny anchor over the door, then they couldn't enter. So that was the protection that everyone in the area knew about, except for these four stupid teenagers, of course. So it's kind of like vampires, I guess. But yeah,
I see. Right. And so are all of your stories set in real places like that? Or are some of them set in fictional places?
it's a little bit of both, I think. I I've only written like one or two stories that are in set in worlds that are completely made up. Like it's always basically the real world. Sometimes I will mention the name of the city, and sometimes that city will be made up, but other times it is a real city. It
Yeah.
it varies a bit.
And what about your characters? Do you base your characters on real people? That's quite a common thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah,
You make sure you change the names so they don't find out. But you base your characters on people you've met or people you know at work or something. Do
yeah,
you ever do that? Do you do
yeah.
that?
I used to do it more than I nowadays. I just I don't really do it as much. I feel like now I'm more just picking a side of my own personality and basing the character on that.
Right,
Um,
right,
yeah,
okay. But does that apply to the protagonist, the main character? I bet.
yeah.
Based it on
It
yourself.
applies to all of them.
Yeah, because I was talking to
It,
another author a while back, and I was talking about this topic, and he pointed out it's probably impossible to actually create a character from scratch from your imagination because
yeah,
human beings are quite complex. We've got quite complex personalities, and even if you think that you're creating a character from scratch, you're probably not. You're probably subconsciously thinking of somebody else that you've met before,
yeah,
even if you don't realize it. So
yeah.
it's a very hard thing to do.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yeah.
I think
I
it's
heard
better
someone else
to
say
base them on real people anyway. I think you're better off doing that because you'll end up with
yeah,
a richer, more interesting character, right?
yeah. Absolutely. I heard someone else phrase it slightly differently, but it's actually exactly the same. I think there's something about how the mind can imagine something that it hasn't already seen or experienced, and I think that's absolutely true. Like
Yeah,
how would our minds just make something out of the clear blue sky? We just can't do that. We
that is very true. So sometimes when I read a novel, I'm reading a scene and it might be somebody sitting in a living room. And I realise as I'm reading the scene, I'm picturing the living room as like my old, like a relative's house or a house I used to live in or something, like the same layout. So I think it might be true then. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it might be.
yeah, yeah. That's so funny. Like one of my friends from childhood, who's still my good friend. But when we were teenagers, we both read a lot, and I remember that was before I started writing myself. And I remember him saying, it's annoying when I'm reading a book, and there's it takes place in a house, in a certain room. I just see one of the rooms in our house or at my grandmother's place or whatever. Like I see a room I've been to, and it doesn't matter that the author has gone to great lengths to describe what's in that. I just overrule that. And he was like, so I don't even know why they bother, writing all that descriptions about the rooms, and that stuck with me.
Yeah,
I'm like, the reader is gonna, picture it anyway, so I'm not gonna bother with all that, like the color of the wallpaper. I never mention stuff like that unless it's absolutely
right.
important, But
Right. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
so
good advice. That is good advice. Cut out all the unnecessary details. I recently read a book by Irving Welsh, a Scottish author. I don't know whether you've heard of him. He's famous. Most famous book is Train Spotting. You might
oh,
know the
okay,
film Train Spotting.
yeah,
He's
exactly.
got. I read one of his books, and he's become an expert at trimming away all of the unnecessary fluff. He just
Hmm.
you don't know about the color of the wallpaper or the carpet or anything like that. You just know you know what the characters look like and the dialogue, funny dialogue, and that's all people want to read. Really, it's
Yeah,
an amateur thing to do, isn't it? Describing everything.
yeah, it is, and I actually apply the same to all my characters. Like when I work with a someone, like a graphic designer or someone who's like an illustrator, someone who's gonna depict one of the characters like on the cover of the book, and they want me to describe what they look like, and I'm just like, I don't know, you decide. It just says he's 17 years old. That's all I have. That's all the description I've given of this character. I don't care, because the readers are gonna imagine a person anyway. So
Well, have you ever watched a film before that's based on a novel? A novel that you've read, and you've pictured the characters in your head a certain way, but then you see them in the film and you think that's not them. They don't
yeah,
look like
exactly.
that. They didn't look like
No,
that to me. Same kind
no,
of thing,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so how long does it take you to write a book on average?
Oh, that varies a lot. Like I think my personal record is 9 days, and at the other end of the scale, I have one that I started in 2013, and it's still not finished.
All
So
right. Wow.
so like I would say my average is 2 or 3 months or something like that. I like to try and get it done within a couple of months or three, because that way I don't have to go back and revisit it several times and forget where I was, and
Mm.
yeah,
Well, that's very fast. That is very fast.
yeah.
So how many times do you edit your stories?
Well, once, like I read them over, like I read through them once after I've written them, and then I change and tighten whatever needs tightening, and that's it. And it's the reason I can do it is because I kind of edit while I write. I'm not like Dean Koontz, who would, he's just a maniac, just completely just micromanage every word, and then only when that page is perfect, after like 25 times or so, he will move on to the next page. I've heard that's how he writes. I'm not like
Dean
that, but I
Koontz,
do
did you
kind of
say?
sort of.
Did you
Yeah,
say
sorry.
Dean Koontz? Did you say?
Yeah,
Right, yeah,
yeah,
right. He writes like that, does he? He makes everything
yeah.
perfect.
Yeah,
Well,
I heard that in an interview with him for several years ago. I don't know if he still does that, but he said like he would go over it like to 20, 30 times. He would write a page and then just go over it and over it and over it until it was absolutely polished perfect. And only then he would go to page two. And I'm just like, wow, that's a lot of a lot
well,
of editing while
that's
you
a
write.
form of torture, isn't it? I
Yeah.
don't like that. I could manage 3 edits.
Yeah,
The first draft I enjoy. It's just nice and easy. Second
yeah,
draft a bit more precise. Draft three is quite torturous. It's like
yeah.
OCD, getting every sentence perfect. I don't like it. I could never do it 25 times. It's a
No,
bit too
no.
much. Um,
That's one of the beautiful things about the self-publishing, like because the first, I don't know, 30 books or so that I wrote in Danish, they went out, it was real publishers, and I worked with real editors and proofreaders, and it was just draft after draft, and they would have so many corrections, and it's not unusual that it would be 5 or 6 rounds of rewriting and changing, and I just hated the story by the time it was finally published, and I didn't want to talk anymore about it. I just want to forget about
yeah,
it.
right. I think I was like that with my first novel. I think I edited it so many times. I spent 4 years on it. By the time I published it, I just didn't want to know it was there. Just wanted to forget
Exactly.
about it. Yeah, yeah. That's what it's like. So, when do you write? Are you a morning writer or an evening writer?
Yeah, no, I definitely write best in the morning. I've tried to write at every possible time of day, but the early mornings work very well for me.
I think
So
that's the best time. Yeah, it's a good time to do it. I think it is.
yeah,
So, how long do you write? Do you write every morning, every day?
no, I used to like I try to write every day, but I don't do it anymore. Like I had a long after I switched to English in 2019. I quickly realized that I was starting from scratch, and if I wanted to really build a business, build a readership, I would really have to get some words out because I just needed content. So I kind of pushed myself to write 2,000 words a day, all the 5 work days, and then had the weekends off. And I did that pretty much consistently for some years, like 4 or 5 years. And it wasn't until like a year ago that I finally slowed down, and it's still dawning on me how much I pushed myself and how burned out I am from it. So I really uh, did a number on my creative muscles, and they've really needed to rest. So now now that I'm finally making a living off of the books. So now I feel like I can slow down a little, just a bit, and find a more healthy rhythm and routine. So now actually just today was the first time that I tried to write in this new way where I don't set and like a quota I need to meet or anything. I actually set a time of only 20 minutes because sitting there for an hour or two, it's just I'm just completely wasted for the rest of the day, and I become irritable, and I'm
Mm.
not pleasant to be around. So I just wrote for 20 minutes, and I got 317 words down, and that's way too little. I like my mind would tell me, and I was just like, no, but you did it with calm, and there was no stress. You didn't there was no flop sweat, no jittery fingers, no too much coffee. So just walk away, and tomorrow we'll see. We'll have 20 minutes more. Well, it's Saturday tomorrow, but on Monday we'll have 20 minutes more, and we'll see how much we get down. So I'm really trying to retrain my brain and my nervous system to write while calm instead of just in that crazy amped up state that I used to be.
Right. I think I read about this on your newsletter, your
Oh
most
yeah,
recent email. I think
yeah.
you mentioned something about this. Yeah, just doing the calm approach rather than burning yourself out. So,
Yeah,
do,
exactly.
do you actually enjoy writing? Is writing actually pleasant for you, or is it something you have to like really like? Do you dread getting into your writing chair?
Oh,
Do you have to push
no,
yourself?
no. I think compared to what I hear others say, I have it pretty easy. It's very little pressure I need to apply, and I have never had a writer's block.
Mm.
I have so many ideas. You could just erase my memory bank, and I would just new ones would just pop up. So that's never been a problem. I'm very blessed in that way. But
But what about? I'm talking about the actual just the act of sitting there typing your stories out because
mm,
it's work really, isn't it? It's quite
yeah,
it's something you have to push yourself towards. I mean, I've sometimes I've really had to push myself to it. It's horrible, but I've found a little groove now. But it's
yeah,
but do you enjoy it? Is it nice for you? Is it when you're in the zone, like writing a scene? Do you get lost in it? Is it pleasant
yeah,
for you?
yeah. Yeah, I do get lost in it, and yes, it is pleasant, but it's also very taxing, and that's why I'm trying to reel it in a little. But and I get what you mean. Like you need to push yourself. Like I see it almost as going for a jog. Like some days it's just fine, and you just do it, and other days you kind of have to talk yourself into it. But I'm definitely on that end of the scale where it's like 9 out of 10 days I enjoy it, and I don't need to I don't need to push myself like the it's a small bump to get going. I want to do it. I enjoy doing it. So on the 10th day, I might need a little bit convincing. I'm going to check a few emails and drink one more cup of coffee, and then I can
Yeah,
get going.
I
Yeah.
see. Um, I ask this hesitantly. We're living in the age of AI. Do you use AI at all? Because in any way to like, there are many ways you can use AI. But do you use it at all for your
Yeah.
stories or your writing?
No. Yeah. Well, yeah. I get what you mean about being rather hesitant to open the subject. I haven't spoken to my newsletter about it either, so I haven't really made any public
Yeah.
statements about how I feel about it. But no, I don't. For the writing, I don't. I run a lot of Facebook ads, and I get a lot of comments about, "Oh, it's AI, and he's putting out books so fast. It must be AI." And I'm just like, "Nope. It's my 10 fingers who've pressed every single letter. I guarantee you. I just write fast." So for the creative stuff, no, I don't at all. Since English is my second language, I will sometimes there's just a word. What is it? Like the other, I was writing a sentence, and the word that came to me was uh, restitution window, and I was like, it's not right. It's almost right. And I asked ChatGPT what's the word I'm looking for, and it was like it's recovery window, and I'm yes, exactly. So I will use it for that if there's a word I can't. If there's a phrasing like this is just not right, can you just? But that's the only
Yeah,
thing.
that's just like looking in a dictionary, though. That's not cheating or anything. I think it's okay to use it if you're researching a scene and you're not sure how that scene would work out. Or if you're not sure of a word, you can look up the word. I mean, that's fine. I don't like the way people are getting it to do their actual writing though, or to think up, even to brainstorm ideas. I don't really like it. I think to me a proper story comes from your experience or your imagination, and the story
Yeah,
you should write it as well.
yeah,
It should come from your 10 fingers, as you say.
yeah,
So
yeah. I agree.
yeah,
Um, but I'll also use it for like you say, if there's technical stuff like I'm writing a story now with a guy who gets a gun from a former Danish cop, and I was like, how many bullets does the Danish police gun hold in the
Yeah,
magazine? And it will just pop out the answer. So, but like you say, it's just like asking Google or whatever,
it's like asking
and it's
Google.
very helpful.
It's fact
Yeah,
checking. But the thing
yeah,
is, you don't know who's using it now, because somebody might say, "Oh no, I never use it, so I'd never get AI to do my writing for me." But how do you know? If you buy a fiction novel nowadays, they could have used it. There's no way of proving it.
yeah.
So
No,
it's
yeah,
changed.
absolutely.
It's put a big spanner in the works in my eyes. I don't
Yeah,
really like it. I don't really like it.
no. I tried actually a few months back because I got the rights for one of my Danish books that I haven't translated yet, and I was like, can you just like I can publish it word for word, but I want to rewrite it. So can you please take this idea, like this is what the story is about? Can you just please try and write it in spread out over 24 chapters? Please give me chapter one, and I used Claude for it. Just to see, I wasn't gonna obviously I wasn't going to publish it, even if it was really good. But and it like the writing was good, like the language was fine, but it just went off the rails and just added stuff in that didn't belong, and it couldn't stick to the overall plot. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, it's not all there yet. We have a few years before it can actually muscle us out of the business.
Well, the key word is yet. It
Yeah,
will happen.
exactly.
That's why I don't
Yeah,
like it. That some people don't like it because it produces slop. But that's not why I don't
mm,
like it. I don't like it because sooner or later it will be able to write as good as us, if not
yeah,
better. And that's the
yeah,
scary thing. That's the
yeah,
scary thing.
absolutely.
Um,
Yeah,
right. So I did a bit of so you specialize in the zombie genre, right? A lot of your books
yeah,
are about zombies. I did a
yeah.
bit of research on the zombie genre for this, and
Mm.
the whole zombie thing actually originated in Africa. I don't know whether you know.
Yeah.
It was an African thing, and originally it was about a dead person being resurrected by magic or drugs. And once they came back alive, some kind of voodoo master would control them like a puppet. That's
Mm.
the original myth. And then it made its way into the Western world. And in 1968, a man called George Romero made a film called Night of the Living Dead, which is like a
Yeah.
classic zombie film. And by that point, zombies became resurrected on their own. They just crawled out of the grave, and they wanted to start eating flesh. So zombies had changed by that point. And then in the 1990s, you had a video game called Resident Evil. Have you ever played
Oh, yeah.
this?
Yeah.
Brilliant game,
Yeah.
excellent game.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that was in the 90s. And then with Resident Evil, it was about a virus. People became zombies due to a virus, not magic or voodoo. And and by that point, zombies had always been slow moving, very slow. But in Resident Evil, you had dogs, zombie dogs, and they were fast. And then
Yeah.
in the early 2000s, you had 28 Days Later, and then by that point, the whole virus thing was like embedded in zombiedom, and then
Mm.
zombies were fast. So have you watched any of these films like 28 Days Later? This was from
Yes.
the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Do you
I
remember
watched the
that one?
first one of those. Yeah. I think they've done 28 weeks and years now.
Yes,
Is that correct?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. I watched 28
Yeah.
Years Later recently, but I didn't really enjoy it. I didn't like
Oh,
it that
okay.
much. I think 28 Days Later is quite good, the original one.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And what about Shaun of the Dead?
Yeah.
Have
I
you
watched
seen
that.
that?
That's it. Yeah. That's
That's
just like we have a lot in common with our sense of humor in Denmark and in the UK.
yeah,
Like that dry, sarcastic sense of yeah.
yeah.
We totally get that.
Brilliant film that. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
I think that's quite old now, actually. I think that was the early
yeah,
2000s. Shaun of the Dead,
yeah,
if I remember
yeah. I
correctly.
think, yeah,
Um, so what about Danish zombie films? Are there any popular ones?
uh, I'm not. I'm not completely sure. Actually, I don't watch that much Danish television because there isn't that much really. I think we have yet to have like one big zombie movie. Like we have the zombie Bible in Danish. That was the idol I mentioned previously. He did one
Oh,
that's
right.
called Cadaver, and I just love that title, and I kind of nicked it for my second series, which is just called Cadaver.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah,
Right.
and he was very inspired by Romero, as you mentioned. So yeah,
George Romero. Yeah.
yeah,
Um, yeah, Resident Evil was a big one for me. Resident Evil
yeah,
games. I love those ones. I played the first two on the PlayStation in the 90s, and then I think Resident Evil 4 I played as well on the
yeah,
PS2. But I stopped playing video games in the early 2000s. I haven't played them for about 20 years now. They're just
yeah.
they're too addictive, really. They're too time consuming.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, they are. They are. Well, so do you write any other genres, or is it only
Uh,
comedy?
No, yeah, yeah. I write a lot of other stuff. It was kind of a coincidence that I got coined as a mostly zombie author because I was just trying to. I was just writing everything and trying to see what would stick. And the first thing that stuck was my first zombie series. So I was just like, okay, I'm doubling down on that niche. That seems to work, and it was the first zombie story I ever did. I had written every other creature and monster and possible angle of the horror genre, and it's funny you mentioned voodoo because that was exactly what my first zombie series was about. It's
Right.
not a virus. It's a curse. It's a curse. I
Yeah.
don't want to spoil too much, but yeah. So the solution for it is not a vaccine or anything. It's like breaking that curse. So that was kind of it was a new angle, but it was like I felt like it was actually the original angle. I kind of resurrected, pun intended.
You went back to basics. You went back to the
Yeah,
origin story.
I,
So,
I think so.
so what to what extent do you write for the genre? Because I was talking to this about this with somebody else as well recently. Basically, it makes good business sense. If you want to sell a lot of books, you should write for the genre. Like you should write zombie stories or just horror stories or romance or fantasy. A lot of people, new authors, they write a book that they like. They try to write something very unique, very different, and it's very meaningful to them, and it doesn't fit into any kind of popular genre. And it's a
Yeah,
terrible idea if you want to sell books because you upload it to Amazon and nobody searches for it because it's not a
yeah,
genre. So,
exactly.
to what do you write about zombies because you really like them, or is it like are you kind of playing it clever? Is it like a wise business move? Like for writing for the genre, you're going to sell more books, aren't you? People are searching for zombies, and
Yeah, absolutely.
so
Yeah, I would say it's both. Like I really enjoy writing about them, but it's also very marketable, like you say, because it's so clear what it's about,
mm,
and that's also kind of a bad thing because it's also very narrow. But narrow means it's easier to find the right target audience. But the way I approach it is like after I wrote my first zombie series. I didn't immediately write my second one. That came kind of later because I wanted to do it. I got another idea and I felt it was cool. But what I did was I wrote another story, another series called Under the Breaking Sky, where I kind of feel like I stay within the niche that is apocalyptic horror fiction, but then I kind of mixed in whatever I like elements that complemented it. So it's also a ghost story because that like the world is ending and people start seeing their personal demons like personified in some person that only they can see. So a ghost basically. And then later on, there's like there are elements I blend in of sort of portals where they can jump through time and space. So and that's that may sound very strange, but it's all like it may sound like a strange combination, but it's just like spices. It's just like trying to find something that may sound weird on paper, but when you taste it, it really works. So everything has been written, all stories have been told. You just need to put it together in what feels like a new way, if that makes sense.
Well, I don't think the zombie genre and the apocalyptic genre are separate. I think they do go well together. I mean, they go hand in hand, don't they? The whole
Yeah, absolutely.
apocalypse zombie thing. So I think
Yeah,
I think that fits in nicely. I mean, if
yeah,
you publish some zombie books and then published a romance series, that would confuse.
yeah,
That's when readers walk away. That's
yeah,
when they think something's not right. But zombies and the apocalypse, I think you're on the right track there. I don't think you've got anything
yeah.
to worry about. Um,
No, yeah, absolutely.
but it's all supernatural as well. So are you kind of because you've got supernatural horror and you've got psychological horror, which is more based in reality.
Yeah,
So you lean towards supernatural stuff then, really, don't you? It's
yeah.
is it
In
because
most of my
you believe in do you believe in anything supernatural in real life, or
no,
is it
no.
just fiction to you? Is it
Yeah, no, yeah, no, it's all fiction. I don't believe in ghosts or creatures of that kind. And I've used to not consider myself religious. I'm still not. I guess on paper, I don't go to church or anything. But as I've gotten a bit older, I certainly consider myself spiritual. So I do believe that. I don't even want to say I believe. I feel there is a lot going on beyond what's visible to the naked eye, and yeah, so I try to bring that energy into my stories.
right?
They're not all
Yeah,
supernatural, so some of them are based in reality, and they have like human monsters, human bad guys.
yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever read any Clive Barker, the man who wrote Hellraiser?
Yeah, yeah, a long time ago, I read like I think it was a short story collection of his, maybe.
Books of Blood.
Yeah,
I
I
bet you're
think
thinking of
that's
Books
right.
of Blood. That's his famous
Yeah,
collection. Yeah, well,
yeah.
I mentioned him because he writes supernatural horror. He
Mm,
writes about there's always like monsters from another dimension, and there's always like a portal to another dimension or
mm,
something. And I can tell that in his case, he does actually believe in it. I think I can
mm.
tell that he was brought up in some kind of religious family, and it just comes out in his writing. It's very obvious. So
Yeah. Okay.
I just thought
Is he from the States? Clive Barker.
pardon.
Is he from the States?
No,
Clive Barker.
he's from England. He's
Oh,
from
okay.
Liverpool in England. I think he might
Oh,
live in America now. I think he moved to America years ago, but he's from England.
okay. Oh, I didn't know that.
Um, yeah, he's got a wild imagination. I tend not to read his stuff that much because I'm more into psychological horror. I'm more
Mm,
into
yeah,
real, like grounded in reality horror. But I really
yeah.
enjoyed Hellraiser, but the book isn't called Hellraiser. Um, what's it? I can't remember the book that Hellraiser is
Mm,
based on. And
yeah,
I've read about two or three of his that have been really good.
yeah.
Um,
I've read and I'm a huge fan of Thomas Harris and his
me
Hannibal
too.
Lecter
Me
series.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
when we talk about psychological horror and thrillers and crime, I guess that's just the standard, the gold standard for me. My God, those books are just amazing. I've just read them countless times.
They are.
Especially like the first two are just brilliant.
Well, the first one, yes. What's the first one called again? With Francis Dollarhide.
Red,
Red
it's
Dragon.
called Red Dragon.
Yeah, the killer is called Francis Dollarhide. Isn't it?
Exactly.
And there's that scene where he's sitting in the tree watching that house,
Yeah,
watching the people in that
yeah,
house. Oh, it's
yeah,
horrible.
and he's carving. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's carving something into the tree.
Well, yeah, he's sitting in
Yeah.
the tree eating a packet of crisps or a can of drink, and then the police find it near the tree, and that's how they know he was there. But
Oh, yeah, that's right.
he's watching the family, and then I think he
Yeah,
pretends to be an engineer or electrician or something. But yeah, they're brilliant. They're brilliant.
yeah,
Although I do think Silence of the Lambs, the film, is better than the book. Usually the book's
yeah,
better, but in that instance, the Silence of the Lamb film is so good. I think that is actually better than the book with
yeah,
the
yeah.
Hopkins.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards agreeing. I think they're just really brilliant, both of them. But yeah, the movie is just really creepy and really well done. So atmospheric.
Yes, but then when it got to Hannibal, I think it went back to the book being better. Because
Yeah,
Hannibal,
I agree.
the film version of Hannibal wasn't that good.
No,
Um,
I've read some review, some guy who said that by around book 3 was when the author fell too much in love with his character, with Hannibal Lecter, and he really wanted us to love him too, and that's kind of when the magic started to slip. And I think that might be right. Like it worked better when he was just this pure evil, just non-human, almost. Force in the story, and he was unpredictable, and we didn't have him as a viewpoint really. I think that's why the first two books are so, like, because like he's a secondary character in books 1 and 2.
in Red Dragon,
It's just
in
yeah,
Red Dragon, I think I only remember him being in 1 or 2 scenes in Red Dragon. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, yeah.
Have
But
you
he
read?
kind of tried to turn him into a superhero almost by book 3. That didn't work that well, I think.
And then you had Hannibal Rising, which was
Yeah,
okay. But so I
yeah,
heard that I heard he didn't want to write that, but Hollywood said they said, look, if you don't write it, we're gonna get somebody else to write the screenplay and make the film anyway. So
yeah,
we can do it, or you can do it. And I think so.
yeah,
He thought, okay, I'll write it, but he didn't really want to.
yeah. I heard that too.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a shame.
He's
And
not.
it's funny. Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say Thomas Harris is not a very prolific writer at all. He's only written 4 books or 5 books, I think.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think he wrote 1 book before the Hannibal Lecter stuff.
yeah. Called Black Sunday, if I remember.
Yeah, about a blimp that crashes in a
Yeah,
stadium. That's
yeah,
all he's ever
exactly.
written. He just wrote those
Yeah,
and then just stopped, didn't he? So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's funny because I read Stephen King's kind of semi-autobiography on writing. It's called,
yeah,
and he mentions Thomas Harris in there, and he's like, "What? That guy is so talented. Why isn't he writing any more books? What's he doing with the rest of his
yeah,
time?"
yeah, yeah. It's crazy, crazy.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
All right, I wanted to ask you quickly about marketing and stuff because it seems like you've been very successful here, by the way, because it's a hard business. It's a very hard
yeah,
business to earn money from books. But I was looking at your Amazon page, and some of your books have like 1,500 ratings and reviews, like loads of reviews, and you seem to be very successful. So you actually earn a living from this, right?
yeah. I do now. I have. I think it was a year ago. I reached that point, maybe. So it's fairly
A
new.
year ago. All right. So it took a long time. It took quite a long
Yeah,
time. before.
Yeah.
So what happened before that? Were you just earning like a bit of coffee money every month for a few years?
Yeah, yeah, and I would work odd jobs on the side when I had to, and then I saved a little money, and I could write full time again, and then I had to go back. And I think it's only like 2 years ago. It was just about, yeah, it was right after the war in Ukraine. I remember that because at the workplace, I remember them telling the news. And like a month later, I stopped, and that was the last job I did besides writing. So I've been full time officially for a couple of years now, I think.
Wow,
Um,
that's very impressive. Very impressive. But and so have you going back to this AI thing? Have you so you became full time? See, AI writing came along in 2022, I think, about 3 years ago. I was going to
yeah.
say, have you noticed AI, has it affected your sales at all? But I suppose you kind of became full time around the same time. Maybe you haven't noticed
Yeah.
anything.
No, no, not really.
Huh? Not even in the
Yeah,
last
but
year or so, because it seems to have exploded in the last year. So, have you noticed any
yeah,
dip in sales in the last year through AI?
no, not really. It's been pretty stable for me, I think. For the last year, since I kind of slowed down on writing new words, I have instead, focused on translating my catalog into other languages. So I think that's why it's like the income has kind of stabilized.
Right,
But I haven't noticed
right.
any changes.
And do you do your advertising yourself, or do you
Yeah.
outsource it?
No, I do it all myself. I run Facebook ads and a lot of them.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, and that's I've tried my hand at Amazon ads a few times, and I just can't get them to work. But Facebook ads have worked well for me ever since I started, almost. So
Is
yeah,
that your main? Is that your main thing? Is it Facebook ads? I've
yeah,
heard they're very
absolutely,
effective. Yeah.
yeah.
So you don't do Amazon ads at all now?
No, no, it's just been like a one or two brief dipping my toe in it,
Yeah.
1 month here, 1 month there, and then I left again because the Facebook ads were still way outperforming them. So yeah,
My experience with Amazon ads was I tried doing it myself. I saw how involved it was. I thought, nah, sorry, I'm just not doing it. I paid this man in America $50 per month to do my Amazon ads for me, and then after about a year, I made some sales, but I did the maths. I worked it all out, and I lost about £1,000, like just over
oh
$1,000. It's like a huge loss.
yeah,
I packed that in straight away, and I haven't gone back to it. I think they're too competitive now as well. There's so many people doing Amazon ads.
yeah,
I thought about dipping my toe in Facebook ads, but again, it's very time consuming. It's like a big learning curve. I,
yeah.
I might I
It
might
is.
do it eventually.
Mhm.
Um, but
Yeah,
your books are published by a company, aren't they? Or do you
uh,
self-publish them now?
yeah. I self-published them, but through my own company. So
Yeah. Right.
that's how I do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how much time do you spend doing these Facebook ads? Is it every day?
Yeah, no, it's I have like one day a week is like the official day where I check numbers and start new ads. But since it's grown to so big of a catalog now, so many books and in different languages, I can't do it in one day. So it will bleed into Tuesday and Wednesday as well. But then maybe I can have maybe a full month where they just run steadily, and I don't need to meddle with them. So that's nice when that
Right.
happens. So it swings.
Have you ever wasted money or lost money through ad?
Yeah, Yeah, oh, absolutely. Some launches have not turned a profit. Well, but yeah, but that's always a weird equation, because I see it as, starting a car by just, pressing the accelerator all the way to the floor. Of course, it's gonna just start burning off fuel like crazy, and you're gonna have a deficit. But then it slowly gets moving, and then you raise your foot so that it's not burning as much anymore. But then and then you starting to get the mileage. So it's just a matter of time before it catches up. It's just a question of how much money are you willing to burn off up front.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's gambling, really. Advertising. Advertising is gambling, a bit like investing. Really,
Yeah,
you don't
absolutely.
know what's going to happen. It's like spinning a roulette wheel. Really,
Yeah,
I'm quite
yeah,
hesitant to do it. But so you've got an email list as well, of course.
yeah.
How do you build your email list?
Well, I for each of my 4 series, I have a book zero that's free and exclusive. It's only available when you sign up. So a lot of people sign up to get it, and then most of them stick around. So
So,
that's how I've built it.
right. So you got a freebie to give away, and
Yeah,
do you use Story Origin or any of those websites?
yeah. I've never used BookFunnel because it's just too expensive, I felt. But I've used Story Origin for a few years. But now I just put it up on my own website because it's just cheaper and easier, and I'm in control of everything. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Um, right. Well, we've covered a lot. What else was I going to ask you? I looked on your website. You said you read Stephen King when you were younger. I was curious what Stephen King novels you've read.
Oh, most of them.
Right.
I yeah I I started really young because my dad was reading them when I was a teenager, even before that, I think. And I so enjoyed The Stand and Cell and The Shining, and yeah, they just absolutely formed my imagination, and
Right.
yeah, I've read most of them, I think.
My favorite Stephen King books are the Richard Bachman books. You know
Yeah,
about that?
those are great.
I think
Yeah,
it's at some point in the 80s, Stephen King was curious as to whether his success was down to luck or talent. So, as an
oh yeah,
experiment, he published a bunch of books under a different name, pen name,
yeah,
Richard Bachman, and he put a fake
yeah,
author photograph on the back, completely
yeah,
like it's just somebody else. And he
yeah,
thought, right, if these books are successful, I must have some kind of talent.
yeah,
And they were very successful because one of them was The Running Man that got turned into a
yeah,
film with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
yeah, exactly.
Another one was Misery, which got turned into a great film. Do you know
Yeah,
Misery? Have you read Misery?
yeah, yeah, I've read it a few times. I just didn't recall that being a Bachman book, but you're probably right.
Oh, right. Is it a Bachman? I think it is. I think it is.
Yeah.
Maybe they've republished them now with Stephen King with his real
Oh,
name on
yeah,
the cover, but I think they might have been published originally under Bachman.
yeah,
The Long Walk is another one that I plan on reading. So,
yeah,
uh,
yeah,
yeah, I prefer those ones again because they tend to be horror. They're horror, like psychological horror, not supernatural. Because usually Stephen King is into his ghost and psychic stuff, isn't he?
yeah,
His
eh,
supernatural stuff. But I'm not really into that. I think that's why I prefer the Bachman books, like Running.
yeah.
Um, do you have a favorite author or a favorite authors?
Yeah. Well, Stephen King,
Mhm.
probably. I read a lot of Dean Koontz and Thomas Harris, as I mentioned, and I think those are the main three. Like I have other authors where I've read one or two books and I really enjoyed them, like Daphne du Maurier, for instance, to name someone that's just completely in a different genre. I don't even
Yeah.
know. Yeah, you know who she is, right?
Well, it rings a bell. I think I've
Yeah,
seen the name. I think I've seen the
yeah.
name. Yeah, yeah,
It was. She was like it's like gothic romance. I think you would or mystery or something you would call the genre. But she was very good at what she did, and
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I don't exclusively read like horror or crime or mystery, but it's what I enjoy most. Yeah.
Are you a prolific reader? How many books do you read a year or a
Oh,
month?
it's after I've started writing myself as intensely as I have these past few years. I've just completely it's just dropped off a cliff. I just
Right.
it's just one or two a year. And it
Oh,
used to
really?
be
Really?
one a week. Yeah,
Yeah,
I just completely stopped. We have two small kids also, 5 and 3.
yeah,
So I just don't have the time anymore.
yeah.
Sadly,
Life gets in the way. Yeah.
yeah.
All
I,
right.
I feel like
Well,
I'm running out of daylight here. Can you still see me, or do I need to
I
turn on
can
some
see you. Yeah, it's
extra
gone
light?
a bit dark, but I can
Yeah.
see you. Um,
Oh,
well,
okay.
we're almost done anyway. I was just going to ask you finally. Just want to ask you how many books you plan on writing in the future.
Yeah. Well, I don't plan on stopping until I can't do it anymore. So I don't have a fixed number or a deadline I'm trying to reach. I feel like I've known since I learned to read that I wanted to be a writer, and that
Mhm.
hasn't changed. So
Yeah,
I think I'm going to do it until I'm too old to do it.
right. You're just going to go for it, definitely. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
so for everybody watching, where can people find your books if they want to they want to buy them and read them?
Well, yeah. As of yet, my books are exclusive to Amazon, so we don't have to go there. And if they want to, follow me and get to know me, they should definitely sign up for my newsletter. That's I send out emails quite frequently, and they're very personal, and I hope very entertaining, and they get to know a lot about me by reading
Yeah.
those emails.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So Amazon, first port of call. Okay. Well, it's been a pleasure, Nick. Thank you very much for coming on, and
yeah, thank you.
good luck with everything. Good luck with your books, and I hope everything goes well.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah. I hope the same for your books, and yeah, it's been a real pleasure talking to you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.